Okay, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
audible.
sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this was the last question I was discussing. This question. Uh, Now moving to the next one. I was supposed to start in previous class, but I didn't. Okay, so present. We are still in present oath method. We are still in present oath method, and hope you still remember how the solutions are made for present oath method, and that too single project. The previous three numericals that we had solved were on single projects, and for single projects, just let me quickly, for single projects, 2-3 things you need to remember. This decision rule, you need to remember this decision rule. So this decision rule you need to remember. Okay, NPW greater than 0, less than 0, equal to 0. Then this formula, this formula, NPW minus C naught plus R1 by 1 plus R, and extend it for the number of years that will be given in the question. Here in this question, only 1 year is taken because only 1 year data was given. For the next question, we expanded it for 2 years. So this is the formula, NPW formula. This formula you need to remember. This is a must. Otherwise, you can't solve numericals on present oath method. And we extended it for the second year because 2 years data were given. And the last question, we extended it till 7 years, though it is not written here, but I hope you still remember the formula. So, just a second. So the formula that he used is this formula, but it was actually to reduce our calculations. We had used this formula, but the original formula, I hope you remember, that R1 by 1 plus R plus R2 by 1 plus R whole square. So keep on extending that series, and each time you need to increase the power by 1. For example, for this one, had you done it with the traditional formula, you would have expanded it till 7 years. Correct, but no need to do that since the returns are same for all the years. So you use this formula, and this formula you also must remember. That means 3 things you need to remember. First, the single project decision rule, NPW greater than 0 accepted, less than 0 rejected, equal to 0 depends on the investor. Second is the formula, minus C naught plus R1 by 1 plus R plus R2 by 1 plus R whole square plus R3 by 1 plus R whole cube. That way till n number of years or t number of years. And last one is this formula. You must remember this formula because you'll be getting questions involving more than, let's say, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. How will you solve this unless you remember this formula? So this formula you also must remember. Okay, so now moving to the next. Moving to the next question or next type is this one. Mutually exclusive projects. Now you're going to, as I was telling you towards the end of the last class, this numerical, so far we have solved, each numerical had a single project. The data regarding a single project was given, and we solved them by using whatever stuffs I just suggested. The formula, the decision rule, all these things. Now we are encountering a situation where there will be more than one project, and which is right also. because whenever you go to buy something from the market, especially let's say a dress, a pant or a shirt or whatever, uh, very rarely we just point out to one shirt or one pant and we quickly buy it and come back. No, we don't do it. Rather, what we do, we look at 10 pairs, 20 pairs, 30, 40 numbers, then we make a choice. Then we select one and we reject the less 29. Correct. And something similar to what we are going to discuss in mutually exclusive projects. That means we are going to, or rather you are going to solve questions involving more than one project. So quite possible that a company is contemplating several options. A company is planning to invest, right? And for that investment, a company is considering a number of projects, 3 projects, 4 projects, 5 projects, correct? But at the end, the company will be selecting only one project, and naturally all rest 4 will be rejected. Now, which one will be that project that would be selected? That is the discussion we'll be having, correct? So without wasting time on theory, should focus more on numericals, but nevertheless, theory is also important. Unless you understand the theory, you cannot understand the numerical. So both are important. So now 2-3 things, very important things I'll tell you on theory especially. Then I'll go to numericals. Okay. So mutually exclusive projects. Let me bring in the highlighter. Mutually, let me see how this one is working. Okay. 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 Good. Okay. So mutually exclusive projects can be of 2 types. One is revenue based or dominated. Second one is cost based or cost dominated. Okay. So there can be 2 types of mutually exclusive projects. One is revenue based or revenue dominated. Another is cost based or cost dominated. Okay. Second thing you need to understand or remember is whenever you'll be getting a question and when you look at the question, you find that data regarding more than one project has been given in that question. Let's say about 2 projects or 3 projects has been given in that question. Then the first thing you need to decide before doing any calculations, without even holding your pen to write, the very first thing you need to decide is whether the question you have got to solve is a revenue based question or a cost based question. That is the first thing you need to decide. And how to decide, I'll tell you, but remember this. This is the very first thing you would be doing as and when you get a question to solve on present oath method. Correct. Is this a revenue based project or is this a cost based project? You need to identify that very correctly. How to identify? I'll tell you. Second thing, okay, why this is important to identify? Because, and which one is called what is a revenue based project? What is a cost based project? I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you. But as of now, I'm just saying that whenever you get a question on present oath method that involves more than one project, the first thing you decide is correctly decide is whether this is whether the question I have got is a revenue based or revenue dominated question or a cost based or cost dominated question. How that will be done, I'll tell you. The second thing, why it is important to identify it very correctly, because you are going to use 2 decision rules, 2 different types of decision rules in this question, in this types of question. In this types means when there will be more than one project. So, and these are the 2 decision rules. If it is a revenue based or revenue dominated project, mind you, I'll tell you how to identify which one is a revenue dominated project, how to identify that. I'll tell you, but assuming that you correctly identified a revenue based project, what will be the decision rule for revenue based projects? The revenue based project is the project with the maximum NPW amount will be selected. So the decision rule for revenue based project is the project with the maximum NPW amount should be selected. Means, see, common sense says that you cannot use the decision rule that you have used for previous 3 questions here. Common sense says. Why? Because that was for a single project. And that only says if NPW is greater than 0, then accept. If it is less than 0, then reject. Now, here, since you are encountering a situation where there are more than one project, so you cannot apply the decision rule, because in the event all the 3 projects are having NPW positive, which one should be selected? So that is why we have a separate set of rules for mutually exclusive projects. And as I said, if it is a revenue based project or revenue dominated project, then which project would be selected? The project with the maximum NPW value will be selected. The project with the maximum NPW value or NPW amount will be selected. Correct? And if it is a cost based project, then a decision rule for cost based project. Decision rule for cost based project. If it is a cost based project, again, to reiterate, I'll tell you how to identify cost based project. But if it is a cost based project, you identified it correctly, then for cost based projects, the project with the minimum NPW amount should be selected. Now you see the decision rule changes the moment that question is not a revenue based question, is a cost based question. Now you would be selecting the project which is having the least NPW value. Correct? So why it is so, I'll tell you. If these are the questions that are cropping up in your mind, I'll tell you for sure. And any other question I'll not address, you may ask anytime you feel like asking. So now, hope you remember 2 things just to quickly sum up. First thing, you need to correctly identify a question if it is a revenue based question and cost based. After correctly identifying, use the appropriate decision rule. And there are 2 separate decision rules, one for revenue based and another for cost based. If it is revenue based, then select the project with the maximum NPW amount. If it is a cost based project, then select the project with the minimum NPW amount. Correct? Now let us look at the question. Question number 2, let us look at the question. And you see, immediately you realize there are more than one project in this question, because you see projects names are A, B, C. So projects are A, B, C. A company is considering 3 projects. Any one, mind you, will be selected. And second column, initial cost, measured in terms of rupees. 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 16 lakhs, respectively for A, B, C. Then look at the third column, annual revenue. It says annual revenue, which is 8 lakhs for A, 6 lakhs for B, and 4 lakhs for C. And life is 15 years, 15 years, and 15 years each. Correct. What is life here? What is life? Project A means this is not exact. This is not exact. This is rather an approximation that this project is going to last for 15 years. Okay. And we'll have a case where all these lives are different. Correct. So possible. It's not necessarily that all the projects will have same life period. So quite possible that the lives are different for each project, and we'll deal that kind of a question differently. But for this present question, you see, this is the question. Projects ABC, initial costs are 15, 20, 16 lakhs respectively. Annual revenue 8 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 4 lakhs respectively. Life is 15 years for each. And at the end, The question is, suggest the best project which is to be accepted based on present oath method, assuming 15% interest compounded annually. So it gives the rate of interest. Unless that is given, you cannot solve anything. So rate of interest is given as 15% compound interest per year. Okay. Now, as I said, what is the first thing you need to decide when you find a question that involves more than one project is to ask a question, is this a revenue-based question or a cost-based question? And you need to do it correctly, because suppose this is a revenue-based question, and if you think this is a cost-based question, then you'll accordingly go for the solution and will use the wrong decision rule, and vice versa. If it is a cost-based, you wrongly identified it to be revenue-based, again you are going to use a wrong decision rule for the same. So that is why very important is to identify this correctly. If this question is a revenue-based or revenue-dominated question, or a cost-based or cost-dominated question. Okay, so let me help you to understand that. So look at this, a project A. So let us understand. Project A, if project A will be selected, it will cost the company 15 lakh rupees, initial cost, 15 lakh rupees. And read the headings. It says initial cost 15 lakhs. So if project A will be selected, it is going to cost 15 lakhs to the company. Correct? 15 lakhs. Then look at the third heading. It says annual revenue, 8 lakhs. And life is 15 years. That means the company expects to earn 8 lakhs revenue each year for the next 15 years. Correct? That is the meaning of, how do I know? Because it's simple. It is written annual revenue and it is written life in years 15. So it is clear from this that the company expects to earn 8 lakh rupees every year till next 15 years. And B, if B will be selected instead of A, that is going to cost 20 lakhs to the company, initial investment and initial cost. And again, annual revenue 6 lakhs. The company hopes to earn 6 lakh rupees every year till next 15 years. And if C will be selected over A and B, then initial cost, initial investment is 16 lakhs, which is required. And annual revenue is 4 lakhs. That means the company expects to earn 4 lakh rupees every year till next 15 years. Okay. Market rate of interest is 15%. So we are here to decide before we haven't solved yet. But the most important thing we are going to do is to identify, is to decide if this question is a revenue-based question or a cost-based question. So this is a revenue-based question. How do I know that? Let me try to explain. If you understood, fine. If not, that's my job to explain. Now on comparison, you see, if this is a cost-based or a revenue-based question, to decide that, just look at the cost element and the revenue element. Which one is the cost element? Initial cost, very easy to identify. Initial cost, it is the cost component. This 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 16 lakhs, these are cost components. Annual revenue, 8 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 4 lakhs. Annual revenue, very clear that it is a revenue component. Now, if cost, looking at the question, what do you find? Is the cost dominating the revenue or the revenue dominating the cost? Correct. And on the face of it, if you are not looking at the heading, if you are only looking at the values, perhaps you are going to answer that it is the cost which is dominating the revenue, and therefore this is a cost-based question. But that would be wrong, because this 15 lakhs, this 20 lakhs, these 16 lakhs, these are all one-time investment, initial cost. Company is going to spend 15 lakh rupees only once if it selects A. 20 lakhs only once if it selects B. 16 lakhs only once if it selects C. But what about this? 8 lakh, 6 lakh and 4 lakh. These are annual returns. That means company is going to get 8 lakh rupees every year till next 15 years. This 8 lakh rupees is not going to come to the company only one time, not 2 times. It is going to come to the company 15 times, expanded over a period of 15 years. So ऐसे तो हिसाब लगा लेंगे तो ऐसे ही पता चला 15 into 8, 1 crore 20 lakhs. Of course, that would be wrong to say so. The way I said that 15 into 8 becomes 1 crore 20 lakhs, because 1 crore 20 lakhs the company is not getting at one point of time. But just to compare the cost with the revenue, I'm just putting it this way. So it is quite clear from this that it is revenue which is dominating, because this 8 lakh rupees is going to come every year till next 15 years, whereas he is only spending 15 lakhs only once for all. And same about B and C. Only 20 lakhs one time investment is required for B, but 6 lakh is going to come 15 times. Correct, because 15 years. So same for C. 16 lakh, this is the amount the company is going to spend only once, but this 4 lakh rupees is going to come every year till next 15 years. So from this, you should be very clear that this is a revenue based question. This is not a cost based question, or you can, in other words, you can say this is a revenue dominated question. Means there are 2 components available in this question, both revenue and cost dominated, revenue and cost components, but it is the revenue which is dominating the cost. So this is a revenue dominated question. Okay. Now, once you correctly decide that revenue dominated question, try recalling the decision rule I just showed you 5 minutes before. It says the project with the maximum, this is the decision rule for revenue based project. For revenue based project, the project with the maximum NPW amount will be selected. So you see, now this becomes, now if you decide correctly, now this is pretty easy to solve. Now the way you had solved single projects, you just solve the same way, and only difference is here you are going to separately compute NPW A, separately compute NPW B, separately compute NPW C, and look which one is having the maximum value, and you give a verdict in favor of that project. So let me show you how it is solved. Any problem in understanding? Questions are welcome. So minus C naught A, for A, first A, you see NPW, minus C naught plus R into this formula. Why this formula has been used? Otherwise, the traditional formula will take a very long time, because if you understand this, you must be thinking that this should be expanded for 15 times. You see, now normally you are going to ask 15 questions here. You are going to ask 15 questions here. Why? Because you are not getting 8 lakhs rupees at present. Yeah, rather you are getting 8 lakh rupees over a period of time, over 15 years, and you will be finding the present worth method. So you are going to ask 15 questions. First question will be asking is, what is the present worth of 8 lakh rupees that you are supposed to receive after 1 year? Second question, what is the present worth of 15 lakh rupees that you are supposed, 8 lakh rupees that you are supposed to receive after 2 years? Third one, same way, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, till 15. So you are going to ask 15 questions, and you are going to expand that formula, expand this formula till 15 years. This formula you are going to expand. Your last term will be R15 divided by 1 plus 15% whole to the power 15. But why to do so much of calculations? Since the returns are same for all the years, for A, which is 8 lakhs, you can use the shortcut formula. You see, that shortcut formula has been used. Minus 15 lakhs plus return is same for all the years, 8 lakhs, times the formula, you see. And one more thing, if you're listening to me, very important. Now you'll be doing the same for B and C. You're going to find out NPWB, you're going to find out NPWC. Now to reduce further calculations, what you need to do, let me show you. Now you see, when you're writing this term to solve this term, minus 15 lakhs plus 8 lakhs times this formula, you do one thing. You first compute the value of this, only the formula. You compute the value of the formula, correct? Why am I saying? Because you would be using the same formula for B and C. So that is what I'm saying. You remember, you compute this formula first, you note down the value you get for this formula, then simply multiply with 8 lakhs, then deduct 15 lakhs from that. So let me show you. Sorry. Okay, so okay, now you see, I'll show you. You see, now this is this value. Which value? This value 5.84 is the value of the formula, correct? And you're not going to repeat for B and C again. You are going to find the value of that formula. No, once you find, you please note it down and you can use it for B and C, and that will reduce your calculations very significantly. So 5.84 or 84, you check it, 5.84 times 8 lakhs minus 15 lakhs. So how much? 31.75 lakhs. NPW of A is 31.75 lakhs. 31.75 lakhs. For B, you are going to, what you are going to do for B? You are going to make minus C naught, that is minus 20 lakhs plus 6 lakhs. Again, your 15 questions you are going to ask, but no need to do that. Just use the shortcut formula. So for B, you see, the same value is used, 5.84, because the same formula you'll be using. So minus 20 lakhs plus 6 lakhs into 5.84. The answer is 15.08 lakhs. So 15.08 lakhs is the NPW for B. And for this C project, you see, same value is used, this 5.84. So minus C naught, that is minus 6 lakhs plus 4 lakhs into 5.84. And the value is 7.38 lakhs. You check it for yourself, how much you're getting, 7.38 lakhs, correct? And now we are ready to answer the question. Since we had very correctly decided that this is a revenue-based question, and since very clear that NPW A is 31.75 lakhs, NPW B is 15.08 lakhs, NPW C is 7.38 lakhs, and since NPW A is having the maximum NPW value, that is why, according to the decision rule, this project should be selected. This project should be selected. So see the answer. Since for this revenue, always answer this way. Always answer this way. The last slide. Since for this revenue-based project, for NPW A is greater than NPW B is greater than NPW C, machine A should be purchased or project A should be selected. Correct. So always answer this way. And since for this project question, since this was a revenue based question, and since on after calculations we found that NPW A is greater than the rest of the NPW, which is NPW B and C, that is why we should be selecting project A. Correct? Okay. So this was a revenue based question. Now the next question. Look at the question. Another question, and that involves 2 projects, not 3. But again, try recalling what I had said. I have got this question and I must decide it correctly now if it is a revenue based question or a cost based question. And let us read the question first. Machines alpha and beta. A company, that means what should you understand from this question? A company is planning to buy a machine. Any one the company may buy, but for that it is considering two options, two alternatives. And so far as alpha is concerned, initial cost 6,60,000 rupees. Initial cost is 6,60,000 rupees. Then you look at the third heading. Annual operational and maintenance cost measured in terms of rupees. I repeat, annual operation and maintenance cost in rupees, and this is 50,000 for alpha and only 15,000 for beta. Life in years is 20 years, 20 years. Again, the same question, is this a revenue based or a cost based question? Okay, the previous one was a revenue based. Is this the same revenue based or cost based? And this is a cost based question. This is a cost based question. How do I know that? How do I know that this is a cost based question? Because for the simple reason that there is no revenue component in this question. In the previous question, both the components were present. Here, both the components were present. This is the cost component, this column is the revenue component. So, but despite having both the components, we found that revenue is dominating cost. That is why we correctly decided that this is a revenue based question. But what about this question? In this question, there is no revenue component. There is no revenue component in the question. The two columns, the middle two columns, both are cost components. Both are cost elements. Second column as well as the third column, but of different nature. Why? You see, initial cost 6,60,000, 8,20,000, beta, alpha, beta. This 6,60,000, if alpha, that means what does the question say? If alpha will be selected, that is going to cost 6,60,000 rupees to the company. Initial cost. To purchase alpha, company needs to spend 6,60,000 rupees. Okay, so it will purchase. But to operate that and to maintain that, so common sense, machines are operated, there is an operational cost, they're maintained, there is a maintenance cost. So towards all these expenses, annual operational maintenance cost, the company needs to spend 50,000 rupees, and that too every year, because it says annual operations and maintenance cost. So that means company is going to spend 50,000 rupees every year on the operations and maintenance of alpha. For how many years? 20 years. Every year the company is going to spend 50,000 for operations and maintenance. And beta, 8,20,000 initial cost means single time investment, one time. To buy machine beta, company must spend 8,20,000 rupees only one time. So this is a cost component. And second one is also a cost component. It is annual operations and maintenance cost, which is 15,000, That means to maintain and operate a machine beta, the company must spend 15,000 rupees every year till next 20 years. Correct? So once again, to reiterate, this is a cost based projects or cost dominated project, for the simple reason that in this question we do not find any revenue component. Only cost components, that too of two different natures, are there. Correct? Now what do you need to do? So that is why this is a cost based question, because there is absolutely no revenue component in this question. Now, once you correctly decide that this is a cost based question, let us turn our heads towards the decision rule. And decision rule says, if it is a cost based project, then the project with the minimum NPW amount should be selected. And that makes sense also. You should not be blindly taking all these decision rules, but there must be some logic behind that, and you'll find enough logic here. There is no revenue component. There is no revenue component. Only cost component is there. That means only expenditures are discussed. So which one should be selected? Normally common sense says wherever our expenditures are the least, that project should be selected. Common sense. So that's what exactly your decision rule says. For cost based project, the project with the minimum NPW amount should be selected. And another very important point that students usually commit this mistake is, you see, for the first time, negative sign hasn't been put before the C naught, rather positive sign. Positive you should not be putting, but you should not be putting a negative sign also. That means you are going to take a positive value for that. Correct? The very first time, because so far all the previous 4 or 5 numericals that we have discussed, we always started with negative of C naught. But this question, you are not going to do so. Why? Because I've already answered. Because in all previous questions we discussed, both revenue components and cost components were there in the same question. And what to find out the net present worth, that is why what we did each time, we subtracted the present value of your investment from the present value of your returns. I repeat, each time we try to solve a question on single project or the last question on multiple projects, what we did, we subtracted the C naught value each time. Why? Because both components were there, revenue components and cost components were there, and we are just taking out or subtracting the cost component from the revenue component to check the profit. Correct? If you don't understand, then understand this way, that to check the profit, and profit is nothing but revenue minus cost. But this question, there is no reason why you'll be putting a negative sign here, because both are cost. The first column is cost, the second column is also cost, but of a different nature. So what we need to do, therefore, is to add up both the costs, is to add up this one and this one and this one. But we need to find out the present worth of this one, and you are going to ask 20 questions here. If normally, why am I saying? Because you'll connect, so that you can connect to this. 20 questions are hidden here. You should realize 20 questions are hidden here also. So that means in total you are going to ask 40 questions here. What is the present worth of 50,000 rupees that you are supposed to spend after 1 year? What is the present worth of 50,000 rupees that you are supposed to spend after 2 years, after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? That way, your last question will be, what is the present worth of 50,000 rupees that you are supposed to spend after 20 years? So 20 questions. And if you do it the traditional way, you are going to write R1 by minus C naught plus R1 by 1 plus R plus R2 by 1 plus R whole square plus R3 by 1 plus R whole cube plus dot dot, your last term will be plus R20 divided by 1 plus R whole to the power 20. But no need to do that, since the annual operational maintenance expenditure is same for all the years. That is why you can use the shortcut formula. So you see, no negative sign is taken. So C naught plus capital R times the formula 1 plus R whole to the power T minus 1 whole divided by r whole into 1 plus r whole to the power t. So you see, negative sign, do not put a negative sign. Keep this in mind. And here only students commit mistakes. Correct. So remember, in cost based case, you're not going to put a negative sign before C naught value. Correct. So please remember that. Now, after putting the value, how much? 9,27,647. 9,27,647.05 is the NPW alpha. This is alpha's present worth, which is 9,27,647. Now you need to find out the NPW for beta or B, whatever, B. So same way, no negative sign before C naught. So only 8,20,000 plus 15,000 is the annual operational and maintenance cost. And again, that same 20 questions will come, but no need to do that. And just you see the same thing. This formula is used. And since you know that you are going to use the same formula for beta, you just remember the value. You just remember the value of this within bracket thing. And what is the value? 5.35. So if you remember, simply multiply 8,20,000 plus 15,000 annual operational maintenance cost times 15.35, and you found it to be the NPW to be 9,20,294. 9,294 is the NPW for beta, whereas 9,27,647 for alpha. And since we are doing a numerical on present worth method, and that too a cost-based method, that is why the decision rule says the project with the minimum NPW amount should be selected. And since on comparison we found that NPW alpha is 9,27,647.05, and for B it is 9,294.11, and on comparison we find that NPW B is less than NPW A, and since this is a cost-based case, we should be selecting project B. And always write the conclusion like this way. Since for this cost-based project, for NPW, beta is less than alpha, machine beta should be purchased. Machine beta should be purchased. So cost-based, so rightly so, the least value should be selected, and beta is having the least value. Okay. Okay. So this much for today. Any question you can ask?